Hey guys, Birgi here. In this video we're going to recreate these 6 iOS screens from scratch using Figma. Now this is part of an amazing UI kit called Freeline, which I found on UI 8, so feel free to check it out. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so let's get started, and the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to create a frame and select the phone. And at this point, we're going to go with this measurement right here, iPhone 30 mini, but you can simply add 375 pixel width to the frame, and that should be a good start. Now, I renamed the frame, and the very first thing that we're going to add is going to be the top and the bottom sections, which I'm simply going to add from the original kit, but you can easily find these elements if you go under the Figma community and you simply write in, for example, iOS. And as this loads up, you're going to find all sorts of different iOS kits, which you can download entirely for free. You're going to find these type of recurring and common iOS UIs for any project really. So as you can see over here, for example, you can see all of the most common patterns and just assets that you might need in building iOS screens. So check it out, and we're going to go back, and I'm also going to rename this to iOS app. And the very first screen is extremely simple, so we're simply going to add a logo here. I'm going to grab it from the original kit, and we're just going to pretend that either we worked on the logo before or the client sent us the logo, ideally in SVG format. Now let's duplicate this screen, and this is going to be the onboarding screen. So one thing that we want to do is we're going to switch this to the dark mode in just a moment, as we actually go ahead and change the color, which we wanted to maintain the background color consistent with the branding. So you don't want to change the colors all too much, especially the primary color. So for consistency, we're going to use that one. And usually what I do whenever I'm working on a project is I would create color swatches, which are going to be added in the library. Now, I have several videos on how to create these and basically sync up the entire design system library. Now, let's go and let's bring this one to the exact center. So I'm simply going to make the height all the way to cover the entirety of the screen. Then I'm going to use /2, press enter, and as you can see, this is going to essentially divide this into two halves. Now we can either go with the original, which is going to be in the opposite direction, or we can use a corner radius around these lines. We're just simply going to mix things up for this design. So we're simply going to use the corner radius. And as you might notice, we're missing the top navigation. And this is an easy fix. We simply need to bring the layer down in the layers panel. And it's currently dark, but we want to turn it into white. And in this case, we have a status bar, which makes it very easy. We simply need to toggle the switch. Alternatively, you can simply deep select the layers inside using command, and you can change all the colors for the fills individually. So in both cases, you're covered in a very easy and fast way. Now let's go ahead and add some text. Now, in the original, I noticed that they're using SF Pro Display. In order to follow along, we're actually going to change this font, and we're going to go with Satoshi. So I'm going to write in, say hello to freelance freedom, Oops. And actually even better than Satoshi, which is a really good option in my personal opinion for this to follow along, but maybe a lot of you are probably going to have other fonts at your disposal from the Google Web Font, such as Inter. So we can simply go ahead and try Inter, and I think this is going to be nice and even easier for you guys watching to basically download it, as it's a free Google Web Font. So in order to download it, you simply want to go on Google, look Inter font, not the soccer team, and as you can see, Google Fonts, you're going to find it right here. You can download the family entirely for free. So let's go ahead and because we're simply going to add the text below, which is going to be way smaller. So let's create this style here. Probably going to go with medium, maybe 13, 14, something around those lines. And we're going to essentially add the text. And here we go. All right, so I'm simply going to select this, make the line height a little bit lower, maybe shift towards a gray color, and we have it. Now we're also going to go ahead and add the mobile, which is going to be below. As you can see, the mobile is going to protrude all the way here. Usually you could go and get away by using the command key and basically cut it off. That's one solution. The only issue is we have this drop shadow that if we want to maintain, we'll need to create a layer mask. So we're actually going to approach it that way. So you can actually do this here on the side. Just to show you, I just created a duplicate of this, and I'm going to position it exactly where the original is. I'm going to also select the mobile phone, and at this point I'm going to click on use mask. As you can see, we created this mask right here. Issue is it only created it for the screen, so we will need to select oops, let's go ahead and let's create this duplicate again. So we're going to need to select these screens prior, group them together, or actually the screen and the mobile frame. And then at this point, we're going to create the layer mask, and we should be good to go. Now there is still this issue, which very weird. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And as you can see, I haven't really prepared this previously. So yeah, I think this one simply go over here. Let's do one thing for simplifying. I'm going to have a check afterwards, but let's just go with the first approach since we have a lot to cover. And we're going to temporarily remove the drop shadow, although we can absolutely add another type of drop shadow which is not going to take into account the previous style, but nonetheless could be a good idea. Now at this point what we're going to do is we're going to add two massive emojis. So I'm going to use Option Command and Spacebar in order to prompt the emojis. And let me find the one that I'm looking for, which probably skipped it. Here we go. Right, and as you can see, this is a text layer, and I can use the K tool to scale it up. twist it slightly. Let's keep it over here. Then we're going to have another guy right below, a little bit smaller. And let's change it to this one right here. Alright, in the original we also have a small bubble, which is this one. And that will do. Okay, at this point we need to create the call to action below. So we're going to create this ellipse, and we're going to duplicate it, make this one bigger, and at this point simply use the arc tool in order to create this nice arc. And probably going to make it go somewhere here, duplicate this, twist it, 10% opacity, and we have the base of the main call to action. Now I'm going to grab the icon from the original, which is a very simple arrow icon. You can follow along by using a app which is free, like Nucleo. You can type in arrow, and you can simply drag and drop them and change it and add it. So this is going to be pretty straightforward, and I'd say that we have this next screen. So let's move forward, and simply going to copy this one just for the sake of it, and I'm simply going to keep the logo for reference. Now that we're starting to add screens with a bit more structure and variety, it's a good moment to establish the layout grid, which on mobile is going to be very simple. It's just going to be 2 columns, and I'm going to go over here, layout grid, select columns, switch it to 2, and I'm going to basically make it follow exactly the border size over here. Let's make them quite a bit lighter. Let's bring it up. I'm going to duplicate this element, left align it, and the text will come to freeline. Cool. At this point I'm going to duplicate this one as well, and I'm going to write solution for freelancer seeking success. Alright, so this will do. Now, as you can see, we are cheating a bit, meaning that we should have done it like that, but I really don't like the idea of having just one single word on the second line, so we're simply going to keep it more around those lines, and let's add a rectangle here. Let's round up this entirely, and we're simply going to add a stroke. Let's make this quite light, and in this instance we're going to have the text email, and let's make it an auto layout with a white space. Going to decrease the vertical padding here, and I'm going to make it, or actually I'm going to make this one here with the same color, stroke as well, and I'm probably going to copy this All right, let's make this one regular and significantly lighter, as this is what we usually refer to as a placeholder text. Now we're going to group this together. This is going to be emo. Let's duplicate this. I'm going to get rid of this. And now let's change the color of the other placeholders, which I'm going to add here below. So we have a few. Okay, then we're going to add at the very bottom the text join, center it. Let's make this one white. Let's make this one of original color. Let's remove the stroke, and we need to bring this guy on the top. Semi-bold. Let's make it a little bit bigger since it's the main call to action. Probably around these lines should work well. Okay, so one thing that we want to add is a small icon text here under the confirm password. It's probably going to be a bit smaller. Let's also make it more dark so that you can see exactly what's up. Let's make it even smaller. And probably want to aim to keep it in one line. Let's add this iconography below. And that should do. Actually, let's remove this extra field which I added, and we're simply going to keep it more do you say more airy, if that's even a word. All right, and then the term and conditions, which is going to be something that we're going to add right below. So very simple, just select this text, make it bold, and you're good to go. I'm actually going to change, actually this already worked. All right, now we're in for the fun stuff, which is going to be the profile screen. So let's duplicate this, and I'm going to add actually let's remove all of these and going to add the top level menu, which is made up of these two icons, an arrow and a social icon to share. And I'm also going to add the main profile, which is this one right here. And as you can see, this one is an image, which, by the way, you can view on Unsplash apparently. So let's do that, because that's a perfect segue to what I wanted to mention. And that is that you can find all of these profile images on Unsplash really easily. So you can see over here a bunch of images. It opened up the browser, which isn't really something that I'm looking forward to teaching you guys, because there is this plugin called Unsplash. So you can simply go here, type in Unsplash, and you're going to find it. And essentially it takes a moment to load. But if you go under portrait, you can see that if you create an ellipse, then you find a portrait image, you can add it real quick. And then this element right here, very simple. You just simply added this icon, this text, and we're simply going to keep it to enter. So let's enter everything. I'm going to make this medium. All right. Now at this point, we'll need to add the text. Let's make this dark. Increase the size, semi-bold, and or actually can even make it bold. Now let's add the star count. Make it just a little bit bigger. This one's going to be dark. And let's auto layout it up. Cool. Now at this point, what we need is the menu items. So about, I'm going to use Command D in order to duplicate these a few times. Review, portfolio, client. Let's group these up, center them, and as you can see, it's not perfectly within the boundaries of our layout. So I'm going to go over here, this one, and I'm going to mix things up compared to the original. So I'm simply going to add a small line, duplicate it, and over here we are going to add a purple tab. So feel free also to experiment with this design. You don't necessarily need to follow along with the exact same design. You can always think about either better ways or different ways to display any given design, so you have total freedom on that front. Now let's add the user information. Let's make it just a little bit smaller, and let's go ahead and I'm going to simply copy the text with Text Sniper, which is an amazing tool, which I highly recommend you to check out. This one's going to be smaller, but let's always be mindful of rounding the text up. And we're going to add the call to action at the very bottom. It's going to be completely dark. And to write in contact, and we're going to add a few different items just from let's write in Indonesia. We're going to give more emphasis to the text, so Going to do that for just 2 items. Member since October 2016. We're going to go ahead and add a icon. Just going to be over here. Let's do the same for this icon right here. And we are pretty good to go to the very next screen. So let's do that. Okay, so the very next screen is going to be this input amount. So we're simply going to grab the original one. I'm going to add it right here. It's going to be under the title. For some reason I cannot really see the distance. Okay, and again change this one, good old enter, semi-bold, and then we're going to add the main heading, top amount, let's increase the size significantly. Let's make this one semi-bold. Alright, we're going to duplicate this, write in $100, let's make it smaller. We're going to turn this into an auto layout using Shift+A. As you can see, we have some padding. That's exactly the reason why we added this auto layout, so that we can easily add this padding element, round it up all the way. We're going to increase the padding on the left and the right side. Make it making the text a little bit smaller. As you can see, this resizes on the go. And I'm going to duplicate this just a few times. Maybe let's increase the distance. Let's make this 300, this one 500, this 1000, and simply going to proceed in that horizontal direction. Now let's create the actual keypad, which somewhat going to be, let's nail the size first, and then this one here, and this one here, 1, 2, 3. Maybe let's increase the size or the distance between one number and the other. And we're going to duplicate this. Actually, let's group it first in case we need to tweak the distance. And yeah, it's exactly the case. 1, 2. Okay, perfect. We also need another one just for the 0. All right, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have the 0 below. Perfect. So let's go ahead and also add the back arrow key, and we're going to need to bring this all the way up here, and so these guys, since we need to maintain a level of consistency in the call to action. So let me do one thing. Since we group this, we can easily distribute vertically, but there is an issue because this one is taking up way more space due to this guy. So we can actually remove the auto layout, use keep it like this, And if we do it again, it works like a charm. Perfect. Let's write in continue. And now we are going to, well, first of all, notice that this one is not in the right, in the right screen. So we're going to, copy it, or not even copy it, just dragging it in the right one. And we missed the top level bar, which is going to be this guy right here. It's the rectangle below. Copy the color, duplicate it, 10%, and we're good to go. So we can see the progress. We make it 3 or 4 pixels, and that should work perfectly. Okay, we are almost in the finish line, which means that we still have one screen to go. So I'm going to duplicate this one, delete, and I'm going to copy this element. Don't need the social sharing, neither we do with that item, so we're simply going to remove it. And at this point I'm going to add over here overall rating. Let's bring it here, line left, reduce the size significantly. We're going to borrow our arrow, or the star, from the previous element. I'm going to increase it quite a bit, and just want to be mindful of not of rounding up the numbers in the text. And ideally, if this is a client project, you will have design systems set up, but since these are one-off design tutorials, I will really take the extra time to set that up, because otherwise these tutorials are going to be very long and very nuanced, since we don't want to keep them in the 3-hour mark. We're simply going with a more lean approach. Let's group this together. Let's duplicate this just a few times. Okay, perfect. And let's mix up the ratings. And we're good to go. Now we're going to get back these elements. Let's add this fill. Let's remove the stroke. And I can actually get away without having to, Okay, let's add 4, 3, 2. And this should work. Alright, now at this point what we're gonna do is we're going to add an ellipse. We're going to add and also let's go ahead and add a few different stars. Alright, I actually need to delete these from the group and just paste them individually. Allow them into an auto layout and bring them here. Okay, let's write the country. Going to make this gray, regular. Let's bring this here to the right. Let's add a date. And I'm going to grab this text we had before. We can even just skip this. And I'm going to add the original picture. Copy, paste it, and here we go. We can add the text, and again, enter. You want to double check all of these fonts afterwards as well. So again, this is just a base idea that we're dealing with, and then I'm going to duplicate this. And I noticed that these are not in the frame, so I'll simply bring them in. And again, just as we did with this one, going to copy this element, and we have it. At this point, simply going to distribute. Oops. So there's a few items that are outside of the correct frame. So I'm simply going to go ahead and basically adjust these. If we try again, this should work. And I'm also going to adjust the name. So let's use a Super Tidy plugin, reorder it. And let's name it by the number. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And as a reminder, I'm a designer with over 10 years of experience. So if you want to learn more about UI UX design, web design, or Figma, feel free to check out the other videos on my channel, as well as the other social that I'm active in, such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video.